Good evening. My name is Alvin Nelson, and I'm the Commissioner for District 5 here in Waycross. And I want to have a few opening remarks and a welcome. The mayor hasn't made it yet, but on behalf of our city, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone and deep gratitude to our panel of volunteers. Thank you for generously giving your time, energy, and expertise to be here this evening. So at this time, I want to offer a prayer. Will former Commissioner Simmons step forward, please?
May we stand for the prayer? Our most gracious and eternal Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, that you have made. And as we bow our heads, we humble our hearts just to thank you for your grace and your mercy. And Father, we invite your presence into this forum, praise God, that everything done be pleasing in your sight. Father, we ask blessings upon Commissioner Alvin Nelson for, Lord, bringing this all together. We ask your blessings upon the participants, praise God. We ask your blessings upon the ones who've come to glean knowledge. Father, let your presence be in the midst of this place, that everything be done decent and in order. Bless this event. For these things we ask in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. The purpose of this gathering is to bring our community together and hear directly from our local leaders about the exciting economic development opportunities and growth happening right here at home. Learn about current projects, upcoming initiatives, and have a chance to ask questions during this open and engaging discussion. I will introduce our panel of guest speakers. Memorial Satella Hospital, Dan Neely. City Manager, Duke Rayford. Taylor Hereford, South Georgia State College. Lonnie. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name. Robert, excuse me, I'm sorry. Coastal Pines Technical College, Dr. Lynn Barber, Superintendent of Ware County Board of Education. I'm sorry, I skipped around here. Let me go back up here. Jason, I'm sorry. From the Waycross Ware County Development Authority, Laura Dixon, Downtown Waycross Development Authority, and Kim Bettering. I'm sorry, messed that one up too. Okefenokee Swamp Park. Your willingness to answer questions and engage in meaningful dialogue shows your true commitment to serving our community. Forum overview and guidelines. We're excited to welcome every organization to share their economic development ideas, plans, and current projects with the community in a series of 5 to 10-minute presentations. Once all presentations are complete, we'll open the floor for a question and answer session. Your chance to engage directly, gain deeper insight, and share your thoughts. We kindly ask that you remain respectful to everyone's time during follow-up to ensure a productive and collaborative conversation. To ensure a respectful and efficient dialogue, each question will be limited to 1 to 2 minutes. We encourage you to share your concerns, ideas, and suggestions related to the community initiative during this time. 2 members will be circulating with microphones. Please raise your hand if you'd like to be recognized. We'll also be accepting questions and comments from social media to ensure broad community engagement. Thank you for keeping your input thoughtful, respectful, and within the time limits so everyone has a chance to be heard. I will allow brief follow-ups if time permits. So at this time, we will start with Dan Neely, Satilla Memorial Hospital.
Hi, good evening. So really, when you look at what we've got going on as a hospital, we're constantly reinvesting in the hospital itself. A lot of what we do is keeping up with the infrastructure, and I know Duke deals with this every day with the city as well. but you're looking at a building that was built back in 1956. So there's constantly things that need to be refurbished so that we can make sure that we're continuing to provide the level of care that the community expects and deserves. So one of the things that we're working on right now is if you look at the interior of the hospital, the piping throughout the hospital, we've galvanized pipe that was put in back in the 50s, has about a 70-year lifespan. So what we're seeing is all of that piping is now at a point where it's got to be replaced. And this is not an easy undertaking because this affects the entire inpatient side of the hospital. So everywhere that we have inpatient rooms where a patient is admitted overnight has this piping in that area. So it's about a $13 million investment that we're making into the hospital. And it's going to take about a 2.5 to 3 year period to replace this pipe because we have to do it just a section at a time. So you're talking 4 to 6 rooms at a time so that we don't impact patient care. We've got to still be able to provide the care that we need. So while that may not be something that we see as a community, and it's may not be something that's expanding services or access to care, what it is doing is ensuring that our hospital is still here for years to come and that we're still able to provide the level of care that we need. Now, the other area that we invest in heavily is looking at the technology that we have within the hospital. So looking at our imaging equipment, where if you come into the ER, you're more likely to have some sort of imaging done, whether that is an X-ray, CT, MRI. So we need to make sure that our imaging equipment gives the best images, that very efficient. We have a very busy ER. Last year we took care of about 50,000 patients in our ER. So we got to make sure that our equipment is functioning very well and very efficient. So we just got through upgrading our X-ray equipment, going to the latest technology. We have put in over the last 2 years, we put in a new CT as well, upgrading it to the latest technology. We're also in the process of replacing our new med cameras. They help give heart images and various testing, cardiac testing, heart related testing. So when you look at all of that imaging equipment that we've done, and this is just under over the last 2 years that we've done this, that's about a $2.4 million investment that we've made in improving the technology and the equipment inside the hospital. We also look at how are we performing from a surgical standpoint? Do we have the equipment that our surgeons need to make sure that we're able to provide the services that our community deserves? So we've made upgrades in the equipment in the OR as well. In fact, 2 years ago, we bought a Da Vinci surgical robot. We have now performed close to 400 procedures on that Da Vinci surgical robot. And that's a huge benefit for the community. And that was about $1 million investment as well. What this allows us to do, it allows our surgeons to operate in a less invasive procedure, so that you have quicker recovery time, so it's less time out of work, less time away from doing the things that you want to be out doing. It's great benefit to the community. Last year, we invested in a microscope for one of our ENT surgeons to use, which doesn't sound like much, but that was about a $200,000 investment. And what this allows us to do is Inspire implants along with some other procedures, some neck and jaw related procedures that he's able to do. But the Inspire implant it's an implant used to treat sleep apnea. So if you can't tolerate the CPAP or if you are not able to sleep with that on, it's an implant that our surgeon can go in and put underneath the skin. It's very much similar to the size of a pacemaker. And you turn it on and off at night. When you're sleeping and you've got it on, it actually stimulates the nerve that goes into your tongue to push your tongue forward. One of the causes of sleep apnea is when you lay back, your tongue falls back into your airway, blocking your airway. And what this does is it's got a sensor that senses when your lungs expanding, when you're trying to breathe, and it pushes your tongue forward, so it opens the airway. So we've been able to do that. We've now performed about 10 of those over the last 3-4 months now. And there's a high demand for that. We've got a lot of patients that are currently waiting to get that procedure done. So it's another huge benefit for the community. We are also looking at our facility, like what services can we provide from a facility level that we need to expand. When we look at the number of oncology surgical patients that we get, we said, well, we really need to make sure we have a comprehensive oncology program. So we're in the process of designing and building a new breast center. So this is going to go in our medical office building directly behind the hospital, but this will be a comprehensive breast center, meaning that you will come there, have your procedure done. We will have a navigator that will follow you through the process because, as you can imagine, it's a very sensitive time, and it's also a time that the care needs to be very efficient. So we'll have someone that'll navigate you through the process from the time you're diagnosed until the time you have surgery and beyond, even the treatments afterwards, to ensure that everything goes smoothly and that you're well taken care of. We have two general surgeons that both have been in practice, one 13 years, another 15 years. They have done several breast procedures, and we noticed that members of our community were leaving town once they were diagnosed with breast cancer. And we said, well, what can we do to improve that care? We've got top-notch surgeons right here. So why are we losing patients? Why do people feel the need to leave town? And that was one of the things that we noticed is, well, we need to have a comprehensive center where we take care of them and treat them throughout the entire process. That's about a half $500,000 investment we're doing to ensure that we have that comprehensive center here. And then the last thing I'll speak about, which is another big investment, this will be a huge investment that we're making over in the next year to 2 years, is in our emergency department. So as I mentioned before, we saw 50,000 visits through our emergency department last year. Our emergency department was not designed to handle that number of patients. So we have to be very efficient the way that we do it. Well, we need to make sure that we expand that ER so that we can take in, if we have more patients that need us, that we can take care of more patients, even patients from outside of our service area. So we want to make sure that we're here for everyone that needs emergent care and the services that we provide. So we'll be doing probably about an $8 to $10 million investment. We don't know exactly how we're going to do it just yet because we're a little bit locked in the hospital in terms of being able to expand due to where the location that the ER is in right now. So we're trying to maximize the area, look at the best place to put, whether it's building an all new ER attached to the hospital or expanding our existing space. But we're in the process of working with some architects and engineers to come up with the best solution for that. So that will be something that you'll be getting some more information on. We'll obviously keep the community well informed of that, but definitely a big need for the hospital, big need for the community is making sure that we have that ER capacity. So we're very proud to be your community hospital. We want to make sure that we are here to meet your needs, that we're providing the services that you need from us. And we also are very proud to be an economic impact in the community as well. Last year, we paid out $70 million in salaries and wages to our employees. The large majority, in fact, 80% of our employees live in the communities that we serve, our primary service area. So that's a lot of money going right back into the local economy. We also paid $7 million in taxes. So we're very proud of that. We're very proud to have that economic impact on our community.
Thank you, Ms. Nealon. Thank you. Next up, we have Duke Rayford, City Manager, Waycross.
Thank you, Commissioner. And at first, I'd like to thank Commissioner Nelson for chairing this event. I know we've been trying to get this done for at least time. So thank you very much. And Dale, you stole my first two talking points. So I guess I won't discuss anything about infrastructure. But before I begin, I do want to take a quick moment. I know this is about business and innovation. I want to highlight the City of Waycross's workforce for a moment. This is a very pivotal moment for us, especially over the next 2 years. Majority of our workforce has not been, we only have one person that's been there double-digit years. That's Miss Dawn Strickland. Everybody else is fairly brand new. So we have faced a lot of challenges since my arrival, trying to reset the ship or turn in the right direction. And it has been difficult. And they bear the burden of a lot of frustrations every day. I try to get out in front of that to be that buffer, from my previous Army days. But I want to take a moment right now, just because we live stream recognize the City of Waycross workforce. We've got a great workforce. Every day they get up in the morning, they come in with a positive attitude and they come in to add value to the city. I know everybody can't see that sometimes, but because you can't see the work that's being done behind the scenes or the work that's going to be done in the future. But please know we got a great team of employees from top to bottom, all 207 to 211, depending on what day it is. Or in the summer months, it gets a little bit lower than that because of the heat. But I want to preface with that because this next year it's going to be more difficult because of some of the challenges like infrastructure that we're facing and the difficult decisions that we're going to have to make with the recommendations and the vision from the commission and the mayor. But I want to lead there because day in and day out with disadvantaged pay, long work hours, uh, staffing shortages, they get out here and do the work. So I want to lead with that. So if anything you can remember from me saying today, I think it directly affects partners with all of our business aspects of the city because they make the city go. So I want to say that foremost and up front. Uh, on the positive side, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to be the dead horse about infrastructure because I think it is very important that we all realize where we at right now, real time. And I'm not going to kick the can forward or throw the can backwards because the people in charge before us, previous city managers, commissions, they did not know what they did not know. And it's hard to really understand the infrastructure internally until it breaks, or you open up a street, or you crawl in a manhole. I did not know last year until I went down the manhole how bad it was. I'll be honest with you, did not know. That was my first time actually getting down in the culvert and looking at the quality, well, degradation of our infrastructure. And we are 70 to 90 years behind. And it's going to cost a lot. We're talking, you hear me say this number all the time. That is a beer estimate when I say $1 billion to fix that. And $1 billion over time when inflation means more than just $1 billion. Not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying it's going to take a focused and a sequenced effort of this commission, the next commission, the commission behind that, and the citizens voting behind that. It's got to be the same effort, the same quality over extended period of time. If we want to make Waycross back to what it was 50, 60 years ago. So some things we're doing about that. We have stuck to the plan. As you know, when I first got here, I briefed our 10-year strategy. And we're actually right on point with that. I discussed finding different means to fund our projects with grant funding. But with grant funding, you have to have seed money. So the first goal was to increase the revenue of the city, which we're doing. And I want to thank the commission again for making that tough challenge because it was hard to raise those rates. And minimal as they were, that was a very, very difficult decision, but a much needed decision. Because if not done, we would be in a way worse space next year, just with the aging infrastructure. So um, those slight increases of revenue is going to pave ways for additional funding for our water and sewer projects. So I'm really excited about that because next year will be the first time I think we will actually make a dent on those projects. Right now we are behind because everything is falling at the same time. As mentioned, we're talking 70 years old. If you watched the last meeting, you saw a young lady come up and talk about her street that had not been repaired in about 60 years. And I went out there, we pulled a core sample, and she was correct. It's been about 60 years on that particular street. Not saying streets have not been paved over, resurfaced, because they have been, but when you're trying to catch up, it's hard to catch up because stuff is all failing at the same time. So we do have a plan in place now with a mix of TIA, Splash, T-Splash, and some great opportunities that I foresee at least in the next 10 years, we will hit about 25% of our roads. We're going to talk about this at the next commissioners meeting where I highlight that. We're going to definitely earmark some of the funding. In the past, we've been kind of just throwing money at everything, trying to fix everything, and it has not been successful. But now we're going to earmark those dollars to specific projects to get the bang for the buck. So I'm excited about that because we're finally in a space that we can do that, and it's been a long time getting there. And that they take effort from previous commissions and previous folks in charge of the city to get to this point that we'll be at over the next year. One of the highlights I want to make, and I discussed this a few moments ago at another event, we've finally changed our outdated software. And I think everybody on this panel can talk about outdated software, how much of a problem it can cause. And I want to thank some of my directors involved with that, Mr. Greg Smith, Mr. Patrick Simmons. They bet the charge on that. In about 6 months, citizens will be able to go on to our database and pull up whatever fund they want to pull up and see what it's been used for that month. You can type in T-Splash 2023, and for that month, you'll see the spending. That's the transparency that we're trying to get at. It took a while to do that, but we're getting there, and I'm excited about that. Our business licenses. Now, I'm going to overcommit delete this out if you need to, Patrick. But we're about 6 months away from that being a totally automated system. So that means all our business owners can simply take their credit card, their Cash App, what else? Zales, whatever it is, pay online through our portal and get their business license, and it'll be emailed to them. That was always going to be the direction, and we're almost there. So I'm excited about that because once that's there, that will remove some stigmatism we have about businesses here in Waycross. So that's a big plus. And again, Waycross City, Waycross team took a lot of effort, a lot of man hours you can't see, a lot of Saturdays and Sundays that nobody's aware of them putting that work in to get us to this point. So, and with that, also with the new software, it's going to further enhance the capabilities of our app. So you'll get real-time feedback from the app, like you texting a real person. So I'm very excited about that. And I guess some folks are thinking, why is this so important? Because it's going to make the lives of everybody that's Waycross that much easier. Everyone. It also will give us, like I say, more flexibility with our business owners, more communications with our business owners. And the last point I will make, again, to the infrastructure and the water and sewer and those things, we are trying to get creative with other ways for our water to work for us. We do have extra capacity, but it's hard to use that capacity when your system can't push it through. So right now we're trying to figure out, not trying to give away anybody else's, our citizens' water, but we're trying to find a way to make that water pay more for our citizens, so it can do more for our citizens. So we're excited about that as well. So like I said, we're on our 10-year plan that was brief upon my arrival, and because of the hard work of the city of Waycross employees, all 207 to 211, depending on the time, the month, and the summer, these efforts are going to start showing, and all these dots that might not be understood right now, or I guess visible in certain cases, depending on your understanding or education, they will be visible here in the near future. And I want to thank everybody for coming today. I'm trying to be short because I know Jason's going to be an hour. So I want to give everybody time to get their remarks in and go from there. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Appreciate you. Next up, we will have Mr. Hereford from South Georgia State College.
Thank you very much. On behalf of our interim president, Dr. Tanner, thank you for. Yes, there it is. He regrets that he was not able to be here to talk with you today, but he's very pleased and excited to be the interim president for South Georgia State. I am the director of the Waycross campus. I am responsible for all of the safety and security and the overall experience of the campus for our students, faculty, and staff, as well as the community. So I'm going to share a few initiatives that are going on at the college right now, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, at the end. As far as economic development is concerned, we are going to be graduating our first cohort in our Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering Technology spring. This is a degree that was very sought after. It was established during a previous administration, and our students have been very hardworking getting to the finish line, and they're going to be able to walk across the stage in May and go out into the workforce and apply what they have learned. We have a new concentration in our Bachelor of Science in Management degree. It is called Emergency Medical Services. This is for EMTs who may want to advance into more of a management or leadership role. I'll speak up. Can I speak up and just keeps cutting out?
Try this one.
Okay. Let's see if this one works. Okay. So the Emergency Medical Services degree is an online concentration in our management program. And this is for EMTs who want to advance into a leadership or managerial role. So this is taken off as well as the Mechanical Engineering Technology degree. Dr. Joseph Holloway is the chair of that program, and he's done a great job getting that started. We have a new student club that has just started. It is a rodeo club. This is chaired by Mr. Danny Varnador, who you will remember is from Waycross. He is in the school system, and he is the advisor for this club. He's a professional bull rider, back in the day. And he has already forced students to the campus to tour and to recruit them for this. They will be both in Douglas, Waycross, and we'll be using the arena here as well to get this off the ground. And we're hoping to get that started in the fall. One of the things that I get a lot of questions about is, can you renovate your tennis courts on the campus for pickleball? We are making that a reality. The foundation that I work with, we hosted a golf tournament this past Friday, and Dale and the hospital were gracious enough to be the presenting sponsor for that tournament. We are moving forward and bringing that vision to reality. The tournament Friday raised over $40,000 towards that project. So we are well on our way to bringing that vision to reality, not only for our faculty, staff, and students, but also for the community. It will be open to the public. If you would like to help in that project, you are welcome to reach out to me and I can get you some more information as we move forward. And then finally, I do want to thank everyone on this panel on behalf of Dr. Tanner. SGSC is proud to be a partner with everyone on this panel in some capacity. So thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of this. And thank you for having me.
Next up will be Coastal Pines Technical College.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Lonnie Roberts. I'm president at Coastal Pines, and it's an honor for me to be here. Appreciate the invite, appreciate the opportunity to share. And I want to thank you for being here. Your presence here indicates your commitment and your interest in your community, into Waycross and Ware County, and that speaks well of you. So thank you for being here and taking the time out of your schedule to come and listen to a bunch of people talk. But to share a little bit about Coastal Pines, especially as it relates to economic development, workforce development, training a workforce, that's our mission. That's what we do. That's our purpose. We do it in basically three different ways. We have a non-credit side of the house, where in our adult education program, if you know someone that did not finish high school, never received their high school diploma, or they can come enroll in our adult education program, receive the training necessary to take either the GED test or the HiSET test, and upon passing those, receive their high school equivalency diploma. So, that's free. That doesn't cost anything for the person doing that. So that is a great way if somebody needs a high school diploma to help them find a job. We're the go-to person. We can get that for you and help you get it. Another area is through what we call our economic development division. And we do non-credit training on that side too. If you own a business and you find that you have a specific need for training of your employees, there's some new thing coming out, or you find that your employees are lacking a certain skill, we can custom develop a program specific to your business's or your industry's need to train your employees. And then also through the same office, we have continuing education programs, and all of those classes are available online if you prefer that option. And then I want to spend a little bit of time on our credit side of the house. That's where we offer associate degrees. We offer Associate of Science, Associate of Applied Science. Those are 2-year programs. We offer diploma programs, which take about a year to complete. And then we have technical certificates of credit that can be completed in as little as 1 semester, depending on the program and the field you go into. And I can't even there's no way I can sit here and list and name all of the different programs that we have. We have numerous programs in the medical and health fields, technical and industrial fields. Welding actually is our most popular program at the college. We have 7 campuses. We serve 13 counties here in Southeast Georgia. Waycross is our main campus, our largest campus. But welding is the program that has the largest enrollment of any single program that we have college-wide. And that shows that there is a need out there for welders. And then we have customer service and relation type programs too. So we have a program that can help you find a job. We have right now this semester, we have 434 Ware County residents enrolled in credit classes at the college. That's good, but it could be better. Out of that 434, 148, right at 150 of them are high school students taking dual enrollment courses. We have a great relationship with the school system as well as with all of these agencies and institutions represented here. But these dual enrollment students, they can take college courses, receive college credit and high school credit while they're enrolled in high school. And the good thing about that is they can take 30 hours free. It doesn't cost them. It doesn't cost their parents anything for them to take those 30 hours. Like I say, we have right at 150 students at Ware County that take advantage of that. And many of them enrolled in specific programs so that when they finish high school, not only will they have their high school diploma, but they will have a workforce academic award, whether it's a certificate or diploma, or in some cases, even a degree that enables them to immediately go to work in their chosen field. And that to me, that's what economic development is all about. It's putting people to work. That's the driving force. And I think we do a great job. We have a 99.9% placement rate. Now, what that means is that 99.9% of every student who receives an academic award from us goes to work, continues their education somewhere else, or joins the military.
All right.
So, I mean, that, if you come and you enroll with us, you'll get a job. We will help you find that job. And we have a 95% placement rate in field. That means 95% of the graduates go to work in the field for which we trained them. And we are so confident in what we do, we guarantee every student that graduates from our college, if you as an employer find that a graduate of ours cannot do what we say we train them to do, we will retrain them at no cost to that student, to that employer, or to anybody. There's no other higher education system in the nation that makes a guarantee like that anywhere. So, and I'll say this, even on the credit side, as an adult, if you qualify, there's all kinds of scholarships available, Hope Funds, Hope Career Grant Funds, Perkins and others. It is very rare for somebody to come to us and graduate and leave with any debt. Our programs, when you graduate debt free. And that's, there again, that's something that I think is something to be proud of. That's what we have right here in our backyard. All of these organizations, both South Georgia, the local school systems will do a great job. I think we all do a great job. We have a great partnership, great working relationships. When I sat down, I noticed some wording right up here that says opportunity in every direction. And that's true. That's what we have, especially from an education standpoint. What we need is you to help us get the word out there and help us advertise that fact for all of us, to help us get those students in, help us find those students. Georgia has been named, I think now for 12 years in a row, as the best state in the nation to do business. And a lot of it is because of our education system and the education and the workforce training that we provide. So we need to get that word out in communities, and to your children and to your grandchildren, and to yourself, even to your siblings, that there is opportunity here. And we're just, we'll do whatever we can to help you, whether it's, like I say, through scholarships or even finding a job. So we're committed to improving the local economy for Waycross, for Ware County, for this region, for the state. And we will stand behind that.
Next, we have Dr. Lynn Barber, Ware County Board of Education.
Well, good evening. It's great to be here today and represent our Ware County School District. We have a lot of exciting things going on. Always good to work with these partners up here, and I appreciate what Mr. Roberts said about opportunity in every direction. I was just thinking of the word team, we are all part of the same team. Here, our purpose and goals are the same. We want the best future for our local community, for our students, for our families, and we're proud to be a part of that. We just went through a process where we developed a new mission statement, and I want to share that with you. I'm still memorized. I think I have it memorized, but I did write it down to make sure. But our mission is to empower minds and shape futures because we are Ware. And I want to just take a moment to break that down. Empower minds, that focuses on the learning part. And that's what we do every day. And you all know we work hard at that. We've seen some success. Just this past week, the state school superintendent came down and awarded 5 of our schools for gains in literacy and math. We got word this week that 3 schools were recognized by the governor's office of student achievement for their gains. But we still have a lot of students who struggle, and we're working hard, and that's why it's a partnership, and that's why I emphasize it's a team approach with our communities, our families, our churches, employers, to make sure that we are empowering those minds. And our purpose in empowering minds, whether it's a focus on literacy or math or the workforce, is to help every student. Our end goal is not when they walk across the stage at Memorial Stadium. A lot of people in this, different schools sometimes think that way. If we can just get them to graduation, well, graduation is just one stage in life, and we've got to get them past that and on to the next stage where they can be successful. And that success may look different for different students, but we want every student to know that there's opportunity in Waycross and Ware County, and there's plenty of opportunity here. There's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of opportunities for furthering your education, and so that's why the second part of that mission is to shape futures. And so we hope in partnership with you, everything we do is molding young men and women into productive citizens who are going to enter the workforce and be a part of society and contribute in so many ways. And so that's what we want to focus on doing. We have several ways we're working on that. In addition to academics, we're focusing on employability skills across the district. Those are skills like communication and showing up on time, and all of those things that just make someone a great employee. And we're trying to teach that from pre-K all the way up. We're focusing on the job of the week across the school system. Let our students know that, hey, right here in our community, there's plenty of opportunities. And some of those opportunities, we're focusing on all types of jobs. Some that you can enter right after high school, some that you may need a technical or college degree, or military, or whichever route they want to go. There are plenty of opportunities. So I could go on and on. There's a lot of ways we are specifically tackling the workforce issue. And you may say, a portion of your taxes goes to support the school system. And you may say, well, I don't have any students in the school system anymore. Why do I need to support that? Because a good workforce benefits all of Waycross and Ware County. And that's why employers sometimes don't come, is because they can't get the workers. And if we do a great job in the school system, we send more people to stay right here. We see more opportunities coming, and it just grows the whole community. So that's what we want to be about. At the high school level, we have work-based learning programs. Some of you may have even employed some of those students. One of the best things I think any student could do is find a job while they're in school, whether that's a summer job, part-time job, because it's those real-world skills that make all the difference. So we're excited about all of those opportunities, a lot of good things going on, and I'll look forward to answering any questions if you have some later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barber. And next up, we have Okefenokee Swamp Park.
Hi. I'm humbled to be here with this group tonight. So thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Kim Bednarek. I am the first ever executive director of Okefenokee Swamp Park and now Adventures. We're an 80-year-old nonprofit education organization here, headquartered in Waycross, Ware County. And who has been to the Okefenokee Swamp? Ho ho! If you haven't been, you're going to see me, and we're going to head out there and make a visit. So the Okefenokee Swamp is 438,000 acres. It's huge. You could fit the entirety of New York City and all the bars into the Okefenokee. It is a remarkable place. And we are a gateway community to the Okefenokee. So we see, and tonight's about economic impact, we see over 700,000 visitors to the Okefenokee Swamp annually. That's a lot of people coming in to visit, right? Okefenokee Swamp Park has grown tremendously over the last couple of years. We have partners like the Conservation Fund, like the Nature Conservancy. We partner with Georgia Forestry Commission. We're actually in Dixon Memorial State Forest. We also partner with the feds, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. And because of having all these partners, we have had the capacity to bring in more and more visitors and activate the natural resources economy. Who's heard about the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge becoming nominated to be the next World Heritage Site in the United States? Okay, so no matter what you think about World Heritage, I am going to tell you it has created tremendous visibility. And that visibility has helped us do an economic impact assessment for the Okefenokee. And the direct and indirect value of the Okefenokee Swamp to the communities of the Okefenokee is $90 million. That's direct and indirect. That's hospitality jobs, that's education jobs, that's interpretive naturalist jobs, that's lodging, that's restaurants. It promotes entrepreneurship. And so, as a gateway community, with that kind of an impact, we know that if the Okefenokee is successful with its nomination, we'll have 100% increase in visitors, which will be an additional $90 million impact economically. What does that say? It says we need more restaurants, we need more naturalists, we need more educators. We can employ the workforce coming out of our colleges and our high schools. The Okefenokee Swamp is a driver of rural prosperity. And we believe as your natural asset, you are adjacent to an ecological wonder. It will become the first World Heritage Site in the state of Georgia. It's the largest national wildlife refuge east of the Mississippi. It would become the first World Heritage Site ever nominated successfully by Fish and Wildlife Service, the only refuge out of 500 across the country to even receive a nomination, never mind becoming inscribed. So when you think about economic development and economic impact, we know that having the Okefenokee in the backyard of Waycross, Ware County, and having the Okefenokee Swamp Park headquartered here in Waycross, Ware County, we are making a positive economic impact. We're creating jobs. We're creating visibility. We're also stewarding pretty significant funds. We just received a grant from the Conservation Fund, and some of our friends here participated today to go through a regional branding process. We received $80,000 to go through regional branding. We've hired an agency to come in and work with the communities of Clinch County, Ware County, and Charlton County to really brand ourselves as a region that's worthy of visitation, that's worthy of investment, and that lifts everyone because it is a place of beauty, it's a place of abundance. So we're really at an interesting time for the Okefenokee Swamp and for all the communities around the Okefenokee Swamp. So one other thing I'd be remiss if I did not say, I think I saw William Clark walk in. Dr. Clark, you're in the house. So I speak on behalf of many people who have stewarded the Okefenokee before me, and on behalf of an incredible board of trustees and incredible volunteers and incredible staff. One of the projects is to revitalize the Okefenokee Swamp Park. We have a master plan in process to rebuild the infrastructure to become a best in class nature center, best in class, absolutely everything, right? And the state of Georgia just weighed in with $1 million to help us get started. So, woohoo! Right? So, Governor Kemp believes in us. So, I believe in us. Right? So, we're doing what's called the Okefenokee experience. We're going to rebuild Okefenokee Swamp Park. We're going to build new infrastructure in our other counties and communities. We're going to work across counties all around the Okefenokee. So, everyone across the globe wants to come visit Waycross, Ware County, and check out that Okefenokee. So thank you so much. Happy to answer questions. I'm just really glad to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jason, put that mic down. Pass it to your left, please, sir. I'm gonna save you for last. Laura Dixon, DWDA, Downtown Waycross Development Authority.
I was ready to go last. I had a really great speech after Kim's. That pumped me up. I'm excited now. Well, downtown has seen quite a bit of change over the last few years. Economic development in downtown takes on many different forms. We get to focus on the local and small business owners. We've been trying to figure out ways to help them and help their businesses stay afloat and to help them grow. Through many conversations, a lot of plans, a lot of talking with the city and with the county, we've decided that we really need to make downtown a driver for these local businesses and what can bring people to downtown, because we have the businesses. You can get insurance, get your hair done, buy an outfit, throw some axes, play some putt-putt, have a cocktail, and get dinner all in one place. And you don't have to leave Waycross to do it. You can literally drive right down the road to downtown. We've seen a diverse group of business owners move into downtown, which is a wonderful aspect. And so we've been working to create projects to beautify downtown. Just today, working alongside with Duke and Patrick and Matt with Public Works, figuring out how to fix up the trees and the flower beds. It sounds so simple, but it makes a great impact. It makes you want to walk around downtown. I hear a lot about adding benches for the walkability. Uh, those have been ordered or they're getting ordered. Those will be put in. So you will be able to walk from one end to the other and actually enjoy your stroll and the beauty of downtown. And we understand there are some buildings that need attention. And I'm, harassing the correct people I need to help, push that agenda across, because all that is storefronts that are waiting to open. I have people contacting me endlessly wanting storefronts. So we have the businesses down there. Another great thing that's going on is we have our caboose platform behind the train depot. We've actually seen an increase in tourists that have stopped by. In fact, I just spoke with a family. He brought his grandson traveling up the East Coast just to look at the trains. We have the rail fans camera at the train depot, which is a 24/7 live feed on YouTube, where people can sit there and watch the trains coming in and out of the rice yard. And if you go and look at the chat, these are people we looked at it the other day. There was people in Russia, in China, that are watching this, and they're seeing Waycross and they're talking about Waycross. I've met people from Sweden, from Europe. I just had some folks in there from Canada that are coming and they're stopping. So working with Patrick and tourism and other people in the tourism industry, what can I do to take these people as they're stopping and get them to visit my downtown merchants? Because they might not have came to see the downtown. We just happen to be right in downtown. And so we're going to include interactive kiosks that can help promote the downtown businesses, and not just downtown, but also the other industries and other tourism spots in Waycross, so that they will go around and visit. We also want to include history. We want to include the history and the significance of the caboose, because it's no longer being used. A lot of kids don't understand what the caboose is. They don't see that when they're at the stoplight with their mom yelling at the stop train. And we want to include CSX and the impact CSX has on Waycross and Ware County, so maybe they can have a better understanding of why that train has stopped there and why it is important to our economy and helps our area, even if it is an inconvenience at times. So we have a lot of different moving parts, and I've spoken with several people at the schools. How can we get the students downtown? How can we teach them about their own history in their own backyard? Because if you understand your history, you appreciate it more. You grow from it. So if we can teach that to these kids, they can understand and love downtown just as much as I do, and several of my board members, how much they love it. And they've been a part of the board for many, many years. And that sense of pride is downtown. And we want that to extend out to our merchants. And we have amazing merchants down there. I don't want to discredit any of them and how they're working together to help each other grow. It's such a camaraderie downtown. So when you come to downtown, you get to have that sense. So tell your friends and your family to visit downtown, support your neighbors. These are your local people that just want to earn a dollar and help their community and go home and do the same for everybody else around them. We have a lot of questions about the lyric downtown. I know that is a huge, huge topic. There were rumors it was being torn down. That was never the case. It could not withstand the snow. None of us could really. So we do have thoughts. I'm working endlessly with working with Patrick, even with Duke some and other people to look into grants to make a project out of that. I don't want to give away too much. But I want everyone to know that we are looking at these things and we are trying to create something that the community can enjoy. Everybody in the community can enjoy because we want everyone to enjoy downtown. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Keep a lookout for some different murals that are going to be going up in downtown. Again, it's all part of that beautification of it and allowing everybody to enjoy downtown.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon.
So we're keeping the microphone.
Oh, we got a Jason down here. Do you want to stand up here or you want to stay seated? Stay seated. Really? I'm shocked. Okay, go right ahead.
Commissioner Nelson, thank you so much, Duke. I've set my clock to 45 minutes, so don't worry. Well, good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here with all these integral parts of what makes this community what it is. One thing I want to start with, because we're always talking about economic development. What is economic development? What makes us tick? So I think we need to back up and find out, number one, how did we get to where we are? Waycross and Ware County Development Authority is a constitutional development authority. There are two types of development authorities in the state of Georgia: a constitutional development authority and a statutory development authority. We were established November 2nd, 1954 by House Resolution 237-743, which was brought before the elected citizens, taxpayers of Ware County, and we were voted in legislatively and amended the Georgia Constitution. We're one of 12 in the state of Georgia. The statutory authorities were enacted by changes to local legislation in 1965 or beyond, in most instances. Our development authority is responsible for managing over 700 acres of property in 2 industrial parks. The first industrial park is the Waycross Ware County Airport Industrial Park, which consists of over 2,500 acres, which the development authority owns 17 parcels, 530 acres, that we're effectively managing, maintaining, and preparing for development. Our business park, which is located on Victory Drive, Gus Carl Parkway, if some of you know where that is the commercial and business park that consists of 245 acres. We now own 192 acres of that. We just cleared 75 acres about a year and a half ago, which you saw across from the high school, across from the Friendly Express. You do see we do have a new Ace Hardware there. We are now in the process of clearing the remaining 122 acres. We've got bids out now. We'll receive those bids April the 30th. We'll review those bids and hopefully be able to move forward in the clearing, stumping, and grubbing so that entire property will be ready for development. Once we finish that, we have enacted a contractor to do a complete drainage plan for that property. Because when you create a concrete jungle, like I like to refer it, when we get a bunch of industry in there, we're going to completely change the watershed. Where does all that water go? It goes into the main canal that runs right through town. So we have to be good stewards when we make developmental changes, and this is going to be a critical component to make sure that we're not flooding downtown Waycross or the rest of the community. That doesn't do us any good if we're growing and then creating problems. What are some things we've done? I started with the Development Authority November 1st, 2022. Now, I've been in the area for 22 years, and I've learned a lot about Waycross. I love Waycross. This is home. It is a community that is sitting on a gold mine of opportunity. A lot of us that live it and breathe it and see it every day that have never really left town don't know what we have laying right at our feet. So we are the largest county in the largest city, largest county, largest state east of the Mississippi. And the first thing we did when I came on board is we rebranded our website. So if you have not, go look at the website www.da.us and tell me what you think about it. Be honest. The other thing we did is we created our own tagline, similar to what the Board of Education did. We are where you want to be. We are where you want to work, where you want to live, and where you want to play. So we're using that as our tagline when we travel because, yes, everybody says, well, we're competing against, we hear it all the time, Douglas Coffee County, Pierce County. We're not competing against them. We need to act regionally there. We're competing not against 159 counties in the state of Georgia. It hadn't been 45 minutes yet, I promise. We're competing globally. This year alone, we have been visited in this community by 7 different countries. Just this year. And we're only through the first quarter, starting the second quarter. We have a lot of traction. My primary role is number one, take care of the 760 businesses and industries that we currently have in our community. That includes CSX. That includes Voith Paper Fabrics. It includes every single one that we have. Number 2 is recruitment of business and industry. I am continuously on the phone working deals for our community that fit what we can support. And that's one thing we've got to understand as a community. We have to make sure that just because we want it doesn't mean that it's a good fit for us right now. May never be a good fit because a lot of these businesses, they look at our population, they look at our daytime traffic counts. They look at our workforce. They look at our poverty level. They look at a lot of the things that we're fixing, but they also look at our sense of community and our sense of pride, which we have a lot of. So aside from that, we're continuing to make sure that we have the property shovel ready. If we don't have shovel ready property, we're not ready for development. Because put yourself in a developer's shoes. If you pull up to a site that anybody has, and you've got standing timber that's been there for 75 years, hasn't been cut, hasn't been maintained, what's the first thing you see? I got a lot of work to do before I can actually start putting a shovel in the ground to build my building. So you're going to go to that next community that has it ready to go. That's what we've been focusing. We spent $1.2 million on 75 acres at the Gus Carl Parkway Business Park. Just to get that land cleared, put in water and sewer infrastructure, and we are starting to see a lot of traction on that property. Once we get that cleared, we're going to continue to focus on the industrial park at the airport. We've already cleared the marketable timber from it. We've already completed a wetland delineation study, which was our 5-year renewal, and made some huge strides on that. I'm working on grants right now to expand our rail service into that area because rail service is high demand right now for a lot of the reshoring that's taking place right now. We are 2 hours or less from 3 major U.S. ports. That is a huge selling point for us. So we've got to use that to our advantage. We've got to make sure that we're ready for development. In addition to that, we're looking for other opportunities. We just bought 40 acres on Scapa Road for additional development. We're currently working 15 different projects that we cannot say a whole lot about right now because a lot of those projects have not made their final location decision yet. Some of them may be dealing with financing, but we've got 15 active projects that we're working on right now. So with that being said, top 3 questions that I get. Number 1, where are my workers coming from? We've got our educational partners all sitting here that help with that. Number 2, where are my workers going to live? We're working on that every day with a lot of the housing discussions we're taking care of because we have a significant housing shortage. And number 3, what are my employees going to do when they get off of them? There is so much to do in our community that we take for granted, whether it's going to the Okefenokee Swamp Park, enjoying a day at the swamp, a lot of our other natural resources, spending a lot of time downtown, supporting our downtown businesses, and going out to a lot of the areas that are outside of downtown, whether you like bowling, roller skating. There's a lot of opportunity. And we have to make sure as a community that we are doing our best to tell our story because everybody sees what social media tells us. Not just us, but the world sees it. So make sure when we're telling our story, we're telling it accurately and we're telling it in a manner that we want people that are not from here to see. I'm open for questions as well.
Okay, now this opens up our question and answer session. I'll ask the 2 AMBETS members to come forward with the microphones. Do you need a microphone?
Firstly, I thank everyone for all your discussions and everything. And I'm here 8 months. I moved from South Florida and I fell in love with the town. But one thing that I do have a problem with is just with the codes and zoning. I can't get any information. When I ask them, it's verbally, and I can't get anything on paper to try and bring my house up. Who do I speak with?
Yes, it's my time. What's your name again, sir?
Wayne McKell.
You come tomorrow morning if you want to. You free tomorrow?
For county.
But that's a different situation. But even then, I'll contact the county manager right after this, and we'll set something up with him.
Not a problem. Thank you so much.
Excuse my seat. My name is Rudolph Solomon. Live at 507 Lister Street. Appreciate the panel coming out this evening. I have a question for Mr. Neely, CEO of hospital. Sir, I live right there by the hospital. And when I was coming up, came up on State Street, but now I reside right there on Lister Street. When I was coming up, we had Dr. Cooper here We had pediatric nurses, pediatric doctors, pediatric floor at the hospital. Now I sit right there on my lawn and see helicopters take out pediatric patients, maybe to Savannah or Jacksonville. I think this community, the young mothers here, when their babies be shipped out, sometimes it's hard for them to go up that road to Savannah to maintain, sit there with their children, even get a ride up there. Why can't we not bring pediatric floor back? I mean, I can understand what you're doing. I can appreciate because I see the growth. You're working on that hospital every day. I see the difference since you've been here, sir. I remember when you got here a couple years back. I can see the different growth, but I think we need to bring the pediatric patients, the floor back to Waycross because people are looking to come here to move here. They want to make sure the entire family is covered, not the dad and the mom. They have the little ones as well. They need to be covered, sir. And I want to know, do you have a plan? Not this year, maybe years to come. I heard you said it's going to take a few years to do your infrastructure within the building. Do you have a plan, sir, to make this happen?
Yeah, so we just took a big step this year. We brought on a new pediatrician this year, straight out of training, and she's going to do an incredible job. Dr. Morton is her name, and she just started practicing, joined Dr. Clay's practice. We've got to build the medical staff depth in order to offer those inpatient services. So we need some additional pediatric physicians. We also need some specialists that see those pediatric patients. So we've got our orthopedic surgeons that have started doing more pediatric. We do a lot of pediatric admissions. We'll do some observation. It's very important for pediatric patients that if they need to have tubes put in their ears, tonsillectomies, things along those lines. And right now, we're a pediatric business, but what we're trying to do is grow the depth of our medical staff so that we have the infrastructure in place in order to do that.
Good evening. My name is Karen Etheridge. The reason I'm going to ask this question, Mr. Neatley, you mentioned about the pipes at the hospital. And then Mr. Rayford came up and mentioned he was in a manhole. Well, watching the news today, a lady was walking on the streets of New York, and all of a sudden, as she passed with the baby in a stroller and her other child, the sidewalk exploded. Because they say, and this is what I want to know, since we've got a lot of old pipes up underground, and my street has been done several times, but now today there's a big there's a big hole in the pavement. It's like the asphalt has melted. So my question to you, will that happen in Waycross if it gets so hot up under there, a manhole explode in the sidewalk? Thank you.
So
Yes.
yes, okay. I doubt that will happen. I have to research that particular situation in New York, but I'm assuming there's a gas line down there for it to happen. I'm just assuming. Yeah. Probably a gas pipe problem. Because they do gas in New York. So it's a little different up there. Yeah. Well. Okay. But just to answer I appreciate your comment because you just made a great point. I say this all the time. Waycross is not unique from failing infrastructure. I think sometimes that we forget that. Like we just unique from the problem. It is across all country right now, for various reasons. So as I stated earlier, we have mapped some things out. The one thing you did mention about our patching, that probably was not done in the most professional manner. Previous years, we're doing additional training on that and looking at other innovation to make sure that when we do patch roads, that it stays. Some of the hot patching and stuff like that. So those some things in the past, just being honest, just wasn't focused on. They patched it and it kept moving. So we do maintain a roster now of when we do patches, and we're gonna do sustained maintenance, meaning come back and check on them because and we got a lot of stuff to check on. But this way, we'll stay abreast of those patches when they fail. But I will go back and check though to make sure I'm giving you the correct answer. But I'm pretty sure That's a gas line that explodes. When our pipes, just to reassure you, when they do explode, they're not going to explode. They're going to cave in. Be honest with you, and that's going to be the water pressure to roots to other pipes, stuff like that nature. So anything, because most of those pipes in the ground are tar, or clay, it's just going to crumble, and then the water's not going to get through. That's going to be our biggest issue. And in some cases, you'll see those sinkholes that are happening right now. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Rena Riviere, better known as Dr. Sarge at Ware County High School. And my question is for Mr. Jason. I retired from the military in 2000. I was a dental hygienist. I like fixing, seeing pretty smiles, but I always wanted to teach and mentor. So when I looked into teaching, my last two options was going back home to the U.S. Virgin Islands and Waycross. And I chose Waycross because I couldn't leave my grandson. 23 years later, I'm still here. And what I see, I've seen how with a lot of business gone, some come back, and with COVID and how things have changed. But my question is, who really makes a decision on what business comes? It is a group? Is it someone called, one person calls and say, yeah or nay, you can't come? Or is it a team effort in bringing the business? I understand everything else you're saying about getting that infrastructure together before that person can come in. But that's just my question. Is it one person or is it a group that makes a decision?
That's a great question, Sergeant. So I'm going to be very, very, very candid on this one because we have had some people in the community that have tried to do economic development on their own when I was talking to some businesses last year. These businesses were on the verge of coming. And when they started getting demands from members of the community or possible leaders of the community, they called me up, said, we're finished speaking with you. We are not coming. It is important, whether it's economic development, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce, whether it's the Downtown Development Authority, let the professionals do their job. As I've said, I've been in Waycross 22 years. I've been in various aspects of economic development with over 10 years at Coastal Pines Technical College, worked with the university system and helping them transition over in Bainbridge, Georgia. I've been in economic development in some capacity. Even in my military days, we did forms of economic development, whether we realized it or not. So in the training that we go through, we know who to talk to, where to speak to them at, and what they're looking for. Now, on the other side token, there are industries that have their own site selectors. They come out actively looking in communities to see if the community is going to be a good fit for them, to see if there's property available. And they come in when you do not know they're here. They will spend a couple of weeks in your community. They'll dine in your restaurants. They'll shop in your stores. They'll visit with your neighbors. And they're going to ask questions. You never know who you're talking to. If I'm one of those recruiters that's looking at this community and I ask you, what is there to do here? What does the 90% of our citizens say? Yeah. Do you want me to locate here? Yes, you do, but do I want to come if there's nothing to do? No, there's not. No, I don't. That's why I say we have to, as a community, be mindful of who we're talking to, what we're saying, how we're saying it, because we don't know. Wawa was not recruited here. Wawa had their site selectors find the locations that fit their business model to locate. Not every industry is recruitable. Not every business is recruitable. Some of the crazy things that I've heard when GATX was doing their most recent expansion out Keene Drive. Jason, get a phone call. When's Amazon going to be finished? I said, enlighten me. Where are they going? Oh, right around the corner from you. No, they're not coming here. They've got a large hub in Jacksonville, Florida on the north side. Well, Jason, I heard that we're going to get this. No, the numbers don't make sense. Their minimum number is 1.5 million people for an average daytime population. So we cannot be speculating. We cannot be doing our own individual recruitment just because, oh, I'm Mr. John Doe and I run this town. Mr. John Doe, I'm sorry, but you might have just shot an opportunity in the foot. So we have got to make sure that we let the professionals do their job.
And Jason, if I can, I'll make another point because I'll tell a quick story. When I first got here, an individual did come to my office and asked me about Waycross. And at the time, I did not know what was going on. First 2 months, asked a lot of questions. Luckily I didn't have any answers because I was new. But after that, because he did tell me they do watch our Facebook and our YouTube and all that. And I would just say this to the public: a lot of times we are very critical of a lot of industries. And if you notice, my personal experience, one industry was about to leave because of the feedback from the community. I would just say everybody's entitled to have a bad day. That's why you see, I don't just go to places or the mayor. We do a lot of pictures. And if you whatever you want to call it, it's not to go be seen. It's because something has happened and we're trying to support that business. So we go show up, we take pictures, we give a great review, and hopefully those same people see that review versus the 25 negative views that start from that one bad day. So again, I would say this is everybody's problem, not problem. This is everybody's ownership to promote Waycross. And unfortunately, we do have a lot of people that, for whatever reason, don't understand that. So it's very important. It's critically important that when you talk about Waycross, that if you got a problem, again, come to the SME, subject matter expert, and make your complaint. But people are allowed to have a bad day, especially our business industries. So I just want to make that point because that is something I'm dealing with more often now. When I do get calls about businesses, it's the ratings. So you do look at these things. It might seem funny to some over social media, but it's hurting us in most cases. So please think about that when you're out and about. And if it's the owner of that restaurant or that automobile shop, Walmart, whoever. Thank you.
But that's the Jason I know.
Good evening. I just wanted to know, is there an update on Admirals? Is that still coming here?
What a lot of people don't realize, when you're spending almost $1 billion on something that's never been done in the United States, it takes time, a lot of time. You've got a lot of engineering. You've got everybody that has ideas, and sometimes they may not get along, and sometimes people change. They are still in their due diligence period. We do maintain conversations with them. When there are updates, we will use our legal organ, the Waycross Journal Herald, to provide any updates on any projects that we have.
More questions?
Alvin, I have a series of questions to everybody. You're not going to limit me to one?
Maybe two.
Two.
Go ahead.
All right, they're going to be two-part questions. First of all, I'd just like to know from every one of you panelists who receive outside funds from the federal government, if you do you anticipate any rescinding of those funds? I don't know that anybody does. So, I mean, you're a rural hospital, so.
Yeah, we're extremely concerned about it. In fact, what we're really concerned about are the enhanced premium tax credits that were put into place back during the Obama administration. They're set to expire at the end of this year, and what that would do right now, those tax credits help people who do not qualify for Medicaid but aren't quite old enough for Medicare yet to get health insurance on the exchange, so at a reduced rate. If they allow these tax credits to expire, then a 60-year-old couple will pay $17,000 more a year for their insurance than they're paying currently. Well, most people can't afford a $17,000 increase. So what they'll do is they just won't have insurance. And then not that we turn the uninsured away, we will still continue to take care of them. But obviously that's a huge financial impact to the hospital. And the other thing we're really concerned about too is if they do, we understand that fraud and abuse have to be addressed in Medicaid, but if they cut Medicaid to the point where it affects the number of people that we're serving, then it's going to have a huge impact on us as well. And we're really concerned about the children, about our women's and children's services, because that would have the greatest impact. So yes, absolutely. I've been to DC once already, going back to DC in June, really just talking to our legislators, making sure they understand the impact that this has, especially on a rural hospital and the people that we take care of.
I'll jump in there next. As all school systems in Georgia public schools get a good bit of federal money. Now it flows down to the state first, and then comes to us. Just some examples here in Ware County, we get Perkins funding, which funds a lot of our career, technical, and ag education programs, equipment, and things like that. We get title funds that are really geared. All of our schools are Title I schools because of our poverty levels, and we could go on and on. There's school nutrition. So we are watching that closely as well. I think as I was in a meeting statewide with other school superintendents last week, and that was kind of the question of the day: what's going to happen? For the most part, all of us, it was kind of too early to tell. The general mood or consensus is we'll probably be okay. Is what the Department of Ed is telling us. Even if the Department of Ed rolls away, it'll be placed in other agencies. So we don't anticipate from a school system side a reduction in funding, but it's still real early to tell. But we are watching that closely.
From an economic development respect, I think funding is always in question when you're talking about communities. Doesn't matter what's going on in Washington, it could change right here in the state of Georgia. The Development Authority, for example, we receive $50,000 a year from the city of Waycross. We receive $150,000 a year from Ware County. And then we have the new SPLOST that y'all just passed. We get $1 million total out of that 6 years. That's how we operate, is with $200,000 a year plus $1 million to clear all the property. If there's a project that we have that may qualify for federal funds, then we can apply if there is a grant available. I have seen some grants go away, but I've seen new grants come about. So I think it's kind of an ebb and flow, no matter what administration is in charge and things like that. I think the biggest thing that we need to be concerned with on an economic development standpoint is the goods and services that we buy, because a lot of us do buy things off of an online retailer instead of buying them locally. And those products and services that we buy may be impacted by tariffs. So we need to really be looking at what do we have right here at home instead of waiting for that 2 or 3 days shipping. Maybe we need to buy from a local business instead, because I think that's a greater impact to our overall economy.
So I have one more ad. So Okefenokee Swamp Park is stewarding a $500,000 grant for telling the story of Company 1433, one of the only all Black companies that were working a civilian conservation corps that were working here in the Okefenokee. We're about halfway through the grant. We were very concerned when we saw the freeze on federal dollars. Our money has kept coming through. We are continuing to be funded, so we haven't seen any issues. We've also been invited to submit $2 million earmarks through both of our U.S. senators. And then the National Wildlife Refuge, which is our primary partner. If the refuge closes, we are out of business from an ecotourism perspective. They are fully functioning, they're funded, and we're not seeing a decrease in their staff. So far, we haven't seen some of the impacts, which we feel very grateful.
How integral to the picture of development that you painted for the swamp is the getting that designation as a World Heritage Site? I mean, if you don't get it, what does that do to the picture you gave us?
So currently, without having a World Heritage Site designation, there's a $90 million economic positive impact to the communities. That includes taxes. If we get it, that would double. One thing that's happened through the nomination process is that more and more people have learned about the Okefenokee Swamp just because we were nominated. We're the only site chosen across the entire United States for cultural or natural sites to be nominated by the United States in 2024. That's remarkable. And so even if inscription does not occur in 2026, which I'm pretty bullish it will, we are receiving attention that we would have never received if we weren't nominated. People care about the Okefenokee because of the nomination. So we still believe the economic impacts to downtown, to our communities, are going to be positive because of the nomination process.
I wanted to ask about the old Baylor Street Elementary School as well as the old Waycross Board of Education building. Both of those buildings are deteriorating at a rapid rate. And I feel it may be unsafe since asbestos is in those buildings. What is going to be done and how soon will something be done?
So both of those properties, one property has actually been sold by owner. We've spoken to that owner about mitigation of that property. The other property belongs to the land bank, and they're doing the same thing. I will say, as long as the building is not disturbed, especially will not just jump out the building. So that's one positive. We've been trying to. This is one thing that the commission and the mayor have really pushed me to do this year is get all those abandoned properties either sold to somebody who does have the means and the funding to mitigate it, or do something on our own. You could add into the Grove Street project in the Middle District. It's kind of the same condition. The good thing for us right now, and I'm gonna go again with the splosh. So when they do the splosh, they put funding in there to mitigate those buildings, and also with the sales tax. I'm just gonna lay out some funding for you real fast. So that sales tax is 8%. So out of 8%, 4% goes right back to the state, and then 1% goes to GDOT, 1% goes to the education, 1% goes to the county. Then the city gets 1% of the sales tax. And now that 1%, that's about $375,000 a month. And with that money, we got to do all those things within the city. Well, not all the things, part of those things in the city. To mitigate those buildings or knock them down, they're probably gonna be about $500,000 by themselves. So this kind of goes back into the priorities of what we can pay for as far as streets, roads, infrastructure, abandoned housing, all those things, alongside with the private ownership, because we can't, once we sell it, we can't go on the land. But what I would like to do, if I can, I didn't get your name when you spoke. It's family. If you can make a appointment with me this week, I can really sit down with you, because this is going to be a long answer. Because it ain't just involving those two properties. Like I said, it's the Grovetown property, it's the old Public Works on Corridor Z. We have a lot of buildings that once again need to be either knocked down or repurposed if they can be repurposed. The National Guard Armory, all those things. So it's another much needed discussion, because the longer we let them sit around, which we have been doing for 20 plus years, the worse condition they get in. So you'll see this in the upcoming meetings. We're going to talk about earmarking our funding for certain projects. That's going to be a part of the discussion, using that SPLOST money that's coming in, the sales tax is coming in, and a few other sources of revenue that's coming in to really earmark certain projects. Because in the past, like I said in my opening statement, we've been just kind of trying to touch everything with the little bit of money we bring in. Now that we have some increased revenue, some pinpoint capabilities, we're going to try to, like I said, earmark those dollars to really start doing something within the city that y'all can see. And again, not throwing stones in the past or not kicking anything forward. It is a very complex problem, and we only have a little bit of funding to do many requirements. But just know we do have a plan in place. And like I said, it might take some time for it to develop, but it is developing. I know I didn't answer your question fully, but just come back because I can really sit you down and show you what we got planned for that. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to be here and thank all of you for coming. My name is Carolyn Fluker, and I would like to just mention this to our Board of Education, K through 12. I would like to know what incentives or what ways you may have thought of recruiting diverse population for our students in our school system of K through 12. Ware County Board of Education.
All right. Thank you for that question. And that's something we continue to work on. We do have a shortage, just like all of our employers. We are the largest employer in Ware County. I don't know if everyone realizes that. We have around 1,000 employees in the Ware County school system. And so it's our goal to attract as many people as we can from, every background as possible to make sure we're meeting the needs of our students. We are doing some targeted work in that area. Over the last few years, we've started doing recruitment fairs at various colleges to make sure that we're recruiting from all areas. So for example, our historically Black colleges like Fort Valley State and some of those schools, we have sent teams for our recruitment fairs. We make sure when we do those recruitment events here that we're putting the word out, so everyone is welcome to come, and we're going to continue those efforts, and that's our goal.
Can I add something to that?
You kindly. I taught school 41 and a half years. And so when I go, I do visit the schools, and, our children want to see somebody look like us. I'm sorry, but they do. And it makes a difference. Also would like to speak to those, the Waycross development. I don't know where the city, when you all call the improvements in the city, I don't know how far the city downtown development goes, but at one time, Oak Street was a downtown for us, and we had a theater there, we had doctor's offices there, we had businesses there, and I would like to know, are there any resources or grants or anything that can help us rebuild that part of our city? If there's any way you could help us out with that.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and address that. I want to back up for 1 second, if you don't mind, before I address that, because Dr. Barber brought up a really good point when we're talking about labor. So a couple of weeks ago, the city commission had a retreat and asked me to come before them and talk about economic development. And I think this is something that we all need to take responsibility for, and we all need to work together to address, because it is a significant challenge that I'm going to place to each and every one of you in the room and online. Our labor force participation rate in Ware County is 50%, age 16 and over. 50%. The state of Georgia's labor force participation rate is 63.4%, 13.4% higher than Ware County. And the national average is 63.3%. We can do better. Some of that is attributed to the high percentage of our population that does not have a high school diploma. And we heard Lonnie Roberts talk about the free GED. These are people that have already exited out of our K through 12 system. And likely they can't get them back because they've aged out. 17.6% of our population does not have a high school diploma, compared to 10.3% in the state of Georgia and 10% nationwide. 17.3%. Let those numbers click in when we're talking about 35,000 people in the county, let alone just 14,000 in the city. So when we're talking about job equity and things like that, I think it's important for us to make sure we have that conversation as well, because we are a severely impoverished community and we have to take accountability and change that from within. To go to your question about the Oak Street community. So incentives don't go toward an individual's building or anything. The state of Georgia is a non-gratuitous state. We cannot provide any incentives to private property owners. It has to be owned by the public, either through the Waycross Ware County Development Authority, the city of Waycross, or the Downtown Development Authority. The Oak Street area, the Downtown Development Authority is part of the historic downtown area. And that map runs from Tebow Street to Albany. Does it go all the way to Albany? Carswell. Does it go? Carswell to Plant. Okay, so it's kind of almost a triangle, but not quite. So you're right outside of that historic downtown area. So businesses would work with the Waycross Ware County Development Authority if they've got projects, if you've got available property, things like that, that we can help recruit industry for. Most of the industries today are looking for 50,000 square foot and up. And the buildings have got to be ready to occupy. So that's just when we're talking about incentives for businesses downtown, business owners can reach out to the Georgia Small Business Association. Property owners can do that to see if there are low interest loans or grants through those avenues to help bring those buildings up to par so that they can recruit. But I know Laura wanted to kind of piggyback onto this as well.
Thank you for that question. When we talk about the downtown district, it is the business district. I think that's an important way to put that with the special tax revenue that's from it. Where Oak Street is, we've actually had discussions because I know at one point in time, Oak Street is considered a downtown area. It just does not fall into that business district. So there are different avenues you can look into. If you're talking about a building that needs some loving, we'll say it that way. There are different areas like he spoke about the small business. And you can definitely go online to DCA and different things. If you're looking to rehabilitate the building, if it's a registered historic building, there are other avenues. If it is not, you can certainly research into that and try to see if you can qualify for that. That will open a lot of different doors for you as well.
And Ms. Lou, I like last point on that. So Oak Street itself, that street is on a tier 2 list. So it'll get repaid probably calendar year 26. So that's going to happen. But as they both mentioned, all the parcels over there are privately owned. Every building over there on Oak Street, somebody already owns that building or that space. So what I would ask is we've been reaching out since I've been whole 2 years, and we've never been able to get all those owners in the same place at one time to discuss a real plan because they are in a historical district. They have to register themselves as well individually. So, in addition to that, I've seen certain portions of the population try to bring that back to that historical value which it once was. The same thing about how we face downtown. If the community not going to support it, it's going to be hard for the city to support it. If that makes sense. So I would just ask anybody in the room, this is downtown too, with some of those business owners, if we could just get together and discuss things, because everybody has a lot of individual ideas, but nobody collectively talks in the same space a lot of times. So I know it's often said that the city is not business friendly with those buildings. All I ask is a year plan, a year-to-year plan about bringing those businesses and those buildings back up to code. We are very open to restoring those buildings, but we have to talk to somebody, and a lot of times we can't reach anybody. So I would just ask. I know you're very have rooted in the community. The door is always open if they want to sit down and figure out a better way to make that area be better. Then we're open to it.
I will add one thing that will help is if you've got several of the property owners in your area, if they would just take a little pride and paint the outside of the building, that will start increasing some traffic, which could lead to potential development. It's amazing what just a fresh coat of paint and a well-kept area will do to a building to increase some foot traffic and generate interest.
Reverend Pharrell Malone. I know in recent years, in the last 10 to 15 years, there have been designated neighborhoods by the city commission. My question would be, and I think that's what city manager is talking about, that if that area could receive a designation by the city, it may then invite additional grants and opportunities for the property owners to be able to access funding and also work with different partners. I know I've been in Americas and other places. Literally, to get the place redone, there are things like in some of the classes from OTC, or if you totally restore the area, there's so many options that we can have if we this to incorporate that. It's not just going to happen on. If we can take the leadership of the mayor, the city manager, and the city commission and put a designation on it, then they open it up for additional funding.
More questions?
Yeah, Michael Hargrove. Michael Hargrove. Any better? I appreciate what you guys do. I hope that you guys have a chance to get together on occasion to discuss problems facing the city. I think a lot of the problems start at the neighborhood level and work out. I see Oak Street as being an example. I remember eating many a lunch and dinner down on Oak Street when I was growing up here, and it was a great place to go. Things change, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. My question to you, Jason, is a lot seems to be in your court right now as far as economic development. Are you getting the support you're needing from other players in the community and members of the community?
Overall, yes. But I do think there is a lot of room for improvement. And here's why. Think about what I just said of how much it costs just to clear 75 acres to get it ready to really actively promote. $1.2 million. And I just shared with you how much we get per year, $200,000. And then we have $1 million in the SPOS. That SPOS is a 6-year SPOS, $1 million. How quickly can we be ready to recruit business and industry with roughly $2.2 million over a 6-year period? How important is economic development to this community when you look at the numbers? Yes, there are grants out, but grants can only be used so many times before you get told no. You cannot fund an entire community off of grants. And remember where these grant funds come from. We, the taxpayer. So grants are not free handouts. They are taxes that are coming from either your federal tax payments or your state tax and returned back to communities to be used for development. So I will say that when I just had a meeting with the city manager and the county manager to discuss assistance from the discretionary transportation SPOS dollars to pave Gus Carl Parkway, which is in our business park. They're very receptive to that. When I do meet with them, they're both quick to meet with me and discuss the opportunities that we have before us. So, yes, I do get effective response from the appointed members. Yes, I have good relationships with the elected officials, the constitutional officers. Can more be done? Absolutely. And I'll just leave it right.
Yes, I have one more question. Go ahead. One more question. This Mr. Barber and President Robertson. When I was coming up through Waycross High School, they had a program, masonry work and carpentry work. Masonry work, Reverend Simmons' brother's still in there. He took that class and he's still doing that work. To see our Hispanic community, we work on these houses, that's all you see. Why can't we see our young men and women from out of high school, from the Pine College, get back into that field? I mean, is it hard to, it's a lot of money to bring that back into the high school? Is a lot of money to bring that into the Pine College?
I'll start and then let Mr. Lonnie finish up from the technical college side. Masonry specifically, we don't teach a lot of. Now we have a lot of people think we took vocational programs out of the schools, but we didn't. We have more vocational programs at Ware County High School than we've ever had in a wide variety of areas. And some of those are in the hands-on type trades like we would talk about, whether it be welding. We have some courses in agricultural mechanics, and we call it agriculture, but it's really just mechanics. Those courses teach electrical wiring, small engine repair, welding and woodworking. And in that woodworking component, they try to touch on some masonry and plumbing, and that's a small portion of that. I think a lot of it goes back to what we shared here. Our biggest struggle, because we can offer all of those programs if we have a desire to. And oftentimes, for example, we were offering a construction class years ago. Well, the numbers did not make. That means enough students did not sign up for it. And so what that goes back to, let's all think about it. I have 2 kids, many of you parents. We're trying to push our students. We want them to be best they can be and whatever they want to be. And all too often we think that's a university degree or a program that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes we're not pushing our students go into the trades. And so so as a community, we need help with that. I was just out, and to your point, on the Hispanic workers, I was out at the Waycross Middle job site a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching as they were laying concrete there, and dozens of workers out there. And the owner of the project manager told me, he said every one of these guys can make over 100,000 a year. That's without a college degree. And so there are opportunities there, and we continue to promote that. A good example, we're trying to offer that construction class next year. We actually have a couple of our local mobile home manufacturers that want to partner with that, and so that we can gear those students right into there. So a lot of it's just demand. It's not that we're not trying to offer it. It's simply a demand. And going back to the masonry, I remember when I was at the University of Georgia, Dr. Scott was our shop teacher there. They don't even teach shop now at UGA, but he said we were all there to be teachers. And he said, if you really want to make money, go into bricklaying and masonry, because that's where the money is. So.
Thank you for that question. And I agree with basically everything Dr. Barber has said. It's a question of demand. I mean, we can offer a program, but if there's not students to enroll in that program, it's not going anywhere. And until we're confident and comfortable that there are students interested in a program, we cannot go forward with spending the money to start that program, because it's, that's just not being good stewards of the money that we're trusted with. I can say we do offer construction programs, not here at this campus, not completely at this campus. We offer some, like Dr. Barber mentioned, electrical systems and some basic carpentry. We have a much bigger carpentry or construction program on another one of our campuses, but even there, the enrollment is low. We've had, not in the construction field, but we've had to close some programs just this month in good paying technical fields because we haven't had enrollment in them in 3 years. I mean, and we advertise, we publish on social media these programs, advertising programs in fields. But until we can get the students there, the state of Georgia, as well as, everybody up here, we're not in a build it and they will come business. That's again, not good stewards of the money. So, we will offer the programs if the enrollment and if the need is there, and that can be shown, then we will make the programs available.
And what I'm hearing is there's no interest at the high school or post high school level that in like home building.
No, sir. We cannot get students interested in those programs and in those fields.
I wouldn't say there's no interest, but there's a difference in having an interest level and enough to fund a teacher and a whole program to teach that.
Right. So. That's the way I should have said it. Right. I mean, if we get 2 or 3 students, we can't justify a program for 2 or 3 students. Even 5 or 6 students, it's hard to justify a program.
That actually stuns me. When I was teaching up in Gwinnett County after I got out of school, I routinely had 30 or 40 people in construction classes, manufacturing classes, drafting classes, the technical art. And now I'm hearing that there's no interest at all in those programs. And come close to making 6-figure a year doing them.
Yes, sir. That's pretty much what I'm saying. We used to offer a full construction program from carpentry, plumbing, to electrical, to brick masonry, to everything, and eventually had to close it because the enrollment declined to the point that we could not afford that program.
And we have
this is a societal failure then.
It is. I mean, it's not here. This is everywhere. I mean, it's not just in this area. This
goes way beyond you guys. You guys are seeing the end result. This attitude has started since they were small children, and I'm sorry to hear that.
That goes back to what I said about our engaged workforce. We have jobs in our industrial park right now that start $18 an hour, 0 experience. They will train, they will help you get that education, but you have to show up to work on time, show up to work every day, put in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, which most of us were trained at a young age. And we have so many that cannot get away from the video games. I've got an 18-year-old that's right there.
And that's, and just to piggyback off what Jason said, not too long, a few months ago, I was in another community in our area, and I had a business owner, a pretty good, one of the largest industries, one of the largest employers in that community, come up to me after a meeting I was at, and he said, "I need employees. You need to help me get some employees." And he told me specifically the employees that he wanted, and I said, "Okay, we offer that program. We can let you come talk to our student and share. We cannot make them come to work for you when they graduate. We'll offer you the opportunity to come talk to them." He said, "Well, I've already done that." And he said, "They still won't come to work for me." I said, and I'm going to be blunt here. I hope you don't offend anybody. And I said, "Okay, well, most of the time we find out when an industry comes and talks to our student, what's the first question a student's going to ask that industry? How much you going to pay me?" He said, "Well, we'll start them out at $10 to $12 an hour." I said, "I can't help you." I said, "I've got the students, I've got the graduates." I said, "But they can make a lot more than that in that field. They can make 3 times that in that field going somewhere else." He said, well, you just got to train more." And I finally, I
think
I looked at him. I looked at him and I said, "I'll make a deal with you. You find me the students and I'll train more." And he didn't, he could not answer that question. And we parted, we were friends. We weren't ugly or anything to each other, but that's the point. We need help. Sitting here, listening to all this, I'm probably going out on a limb here. I'm reminded of a poem I learned a long time ago. It goes like this: "Set a rabbit to a lion as they sat beside the pool. Tell me, why do you roar like a fool?" "That's not foolish," replied the lion with a twinkle in his eyes. "They call me king of all the beasts because I advertise." A rabbit heard them talking and ran home like a streak. He thought he would try the lion's plan, but his roar was a squeak. Fox heard, came to investigate, had his lunch in the woods. The moral: when you advertise, be sure you've got the goods. We've got the goods. I mean, this community, everybody up here has got the goods. We're doing our part to get the word out. We need help to get that word out. You need, I agree. We need bricklayers. We need plumbers. I need a plumber at my house right now and can't get one. But until parents, until family, until those adults can convince their children, their sons and their daughters, "Hey, this is a good field. You need to consider this," and get them to us, it's not going to do any good. So we need help in getting that advertisement and that word out.
And I,
To answer the question, let me just put in because I'm gonna have to leave here. And thank you for allowing me to get up here. Got a 3-part thing here. First of all, you were talking about you can't give a business or business nothing there. I know we had House Bill 489, the duplication of services, city and county, correct? I think that was done in 92, 93. Anyhow, with you gentleman next to the end was talking about these 75 acres right at $1 million some dollars to try to help attract industry. Don't Ware County have a spec building? To get some industries in here, if you would have a spec building, kind of show what you want to do or what we want to try, use that spec building to get some industry in here, or or either with Georgia Trend,
great.
See what they want to do or what they have, or what they're offering. If you look at Alabama over there with the new plant, the 2 plants that they have coming on now, and building that they're doing over there. Well, I know population here, city and county, right about 47, 48,000.
35,000 for the county.
35 for the county and the city
It's
is
14,000 inside of that 35.
so about 40.
No, that's 35,000 city county combined.
Total. That's total.
Okay, so you got 35,000 individuals, city and county.
That's correct.
Okay. Still, if you look at what we're doing or what you say that we need to do, I talked about Oak Street, some paint up over there. Well, give the business owner the so you can say, okay, look, your taxes are XYZ, what they're going to be. With the city, you do know that they have to get a permit, get some type of funding and other stuff to do. But if you can help a business owner, if they're doing hair, shoes, or what have you there, okay, and you know, your rent will be XYZ dollars. City owned, or the county owned, want to stifle your rent for 6 months, 7 months. If you got to sign a contract that you're going to be here 7 months or 12 months or 14 months. In order to get some students interested in working, I don't have the real answer. I don't think none of us probably do, except take away Nintendo and other games. That's the only way that's going to work right now. Even in construction, okay, I employ about 46 people. My construction, we're building projects. That's how I know about Alabama now. We got some things going on over there now. We employ people who want to work. Okay, we're not no color based. This here, I don't care. There is man, you're white, you're Jewish, or any. Come to work, pass the drug test, something like that. We call it something else. You know, if yeah, that too. If they can do that, they two of our companies we have we missed Ware County this Career Day that they had. We set up, we go out, you know, we give them information. It's like I said, it's up to them to come. You know, can't make them come. You know, plumbers right now, $46.83. Certified plumber. Certified plumber. His assistant is making $23.94. A bricklayer, a real bricklayer, or the brick mason, yeah, run a course, 6 course, making $380. Wind up in a day making $1,400. Right? So it's not about money. It's there. Got to just give them from the information. They are there, and we're going to do it. Back to that development out there in the industrial park. You just, and I can do what I can do to help. You know, we can market it and say, hey, look, you know, factories, no, they're gone. They are gone. And in order to get them back, you gotta have something to attract them. That's where the city and the county is gonna have to come in, do some types of things. You know, we're going to, you know, for water and sewer. We're gonna, you know, do this for 2 years, 10 years, and get them to sign a 20-year contract.
As I mentioned before, state of Georgia is a non-gratuitous state, which means that we cannot give incentives to any private property owner by law to build a spec building. And I agree, a spec building would be great. We do have a privately owned building that's 217,000 square feet that's available, that's getting looked at regularly, but it's privately owned. To build a spec building on $2.2 million received over a 6-year period, the average 100,000 square foot building is going to cost me what? 100,000 square foot building with tilt wall construction. You're looking at probably about $10 to $15 million at least for a spec building. So again, that goes back to what Mr. Hargrove asked about the funding, things like that. $2.2 million over a 6-year span does not get the community a spec building. We can clean property along and get it shovel ready. We can do drainage studies. But if we want to get the spec buildings, and yes, there are things that we can help with or that we can get help with if we have an industry committed. But without those jobs and that investment created, it sits on the backs of the taxpayer.
Okay, for the sake of time, we only have two questions here and that gentleman back.
I just want to ask the superintendent and the president of the technical college. I'm interested in getting us where we need to be. How many students do you need in a construction plumbing program in order to put that in place? What I'm looking at is we got 9,740 churches, and we're talking to folk every week. If we can find a number of students that we can help direct and redirect and work in partnership with you all. And the reason I say that is I ride around the city all the time. My father was a building construction contractor. He put several people in business who ended up going in business, but it's going to take our personal advertisement is fine, but it's going to take personally for us to invest in some of those students. And I just needed to know, how many do you need to have to put a program together and maintain it? If it's 20, then we need to have 40.
That's a great question. And actually it is 20 for a class to fully fund the teacher and the program. Oftentimes the problem is if we had 20 students that wanted to take a construction class, only a portion of them could actually enroll in it because this young man wants to take construction. Well, he can't take it because he has to take weight training because he's, in athletics, and nothing wrong with that. Or this student's in the band, or maybe they've just got to have English at that particular block of the day. And so that knocks them out. So you're right. It does take about 40 students to get to the 20. Sometimes it's not that that the demand is necessarily decreased. It's we have more options. If we went back 30, 40, 50 years, there were only a handful of options for us to take in, people to take in school. A lot of the ladies took home ec or business ed. The guys were taking ag or maybe industrial arts. And now we have 14 programs at Ware County High School. So it's not necessarily that there is a need for more demand from the student end, but there's more opportunities for them to take the classes. So we battle that too. But I think things to trend in the right direction. When I say we, I'm talking about all the way up to Atlanta. That message is getting out there. The Go Build Georgia campaigns and things like that, just touting construction and the trades. There's a lot of good stuff happening out there. But I like what you said. If we can get the message out there to parents and families, and those students can go see a counselor and say, "Hey, I would like this class added." We can definitely work in that direction. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Here, from ninth grade, former mayor, John Spot, Grimswell, which is the United East Side of North America. Something I propose invest those students ninth grade, and they have a committee working with them on job right away. They're almost but you can go into the field, make it happen. We have cooperative and collective. And we work with our one more question.
Anything. I'm just piggybacking off of what he just said. My question was because my husband and we moved here like 8 months ago. And the first thing that we heard was there's nothing here for the kids to do. Every tells us that there's nothing here. So I wanted to piggyback him. Can we get to these kids at elementary? Can we introduce? Because I remember when I was in school, I loved when the adults came in and said, "Hey, this is what I do," you know, and it's something for them to look to, something to interest them instead of just being stuck in a book or, like you said, computers get playing. You got to get out in the community and show them. You know, I just came out of Florida out of the apprentice program for carpenter. Show girls that you can climb up on a scaffold and get all this done. You know, give them an opportunity to see different things. I think maybe because the teenagers are so far gone, and maybe young, when we start men.
I would say absolutely. There's opportunities to come into our schools and especially at our elementary, middle and high schools. We welcome guests all the time. Um, even down in our pre-K centers, we just had construction day there. So we do have a lot of those opportunities, and we try to tout those good examples. Just a couple of years ago, we have some students who participate in a welding competition, and our top welder in the competition was a female, and she went on to compete in the regional level, and she became the top welder for all of South Georgia. And so students like that, we need to push and promote. And but yes, there's opportunities to come into our schools. We welcome that. And I'll just touch real quick on the technology. We have to emphasize technology in the right way, and we've made such a push in public schools to emphasize computers and technology, but now our emphasis are how can we limit that? How can we get more face-to-face instruction so a good teacher, good paraprofessional, good folks are in front of students every day, engaging them, so we get less screen time, and so that's the direction we hope to move in.
You just stole my thought.
Thank you.
Come on out to the. And Memorial Satilla Health has sponsored our nature space. So we actually have a space for ecological education sponsored by Memorial Satilla Health. Thank you very much. And so, yeah, let's get them all out there and let's get them building.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Give our panelists a hand. Thank you. Before the mayor leaves, I want to get him to say a few words before he walks out the door on me.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being present for this collaborative and this cooperation. I know that I came in a little bit. I have three bosses. One is the Almighty God. The other happens to be the great work I have to do for the city of Waycross and its citizens. But the other is my president over here, President Roberts. He is my boss from 7 to 6 every day for about 4 days a week. And since I work full time as an instructor, one of the jobs I have is workforce development, and I teach students the various things that I think you made mention of, having them have a face to face. Well, I just come from Ware County High School with a face to face conversation. So that's something I do on a daily basis. But I want to say to you, continue them into these courses so they can take the classes. Sometimes their apprehension and the hesitancy comes as a result of not understanding fully what the course will require. But if we as a collective work together to get that information over to them, I'm certain that we can push them into a classroom. And I know since 2018, I've been working with a group every summer at Coastal Pines Technical College for workforce development. So they're learning their job acquisition skills, getting ready to work on, they're working on various things, one of which happens to be writing their resumes. They also have opportunities to sit before different sets of individuals, and they work alongside them during the summer month of June. We'll have another course of that sort this coming June for the entire month. So I encourage you, if you don't have a child in those courses, please feel free. Check with Coastal, sign them up, and we will be glad to work with them. Now, I said I also work with the city, so I am the mayor. And I have one great thing to say to you. Thank you for coming tonight, and I'm going to release you back into the hands of our commissioner for District 5, and we want to thank him for convening this meeting today.
Again, I want to thank all of you. Give yourselves a hand. This is a great thing, and we hope to do more of this in the future. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.